Coverage you can count on from your good neighbor station. This is KGNS News at 6.
Good evening and thanks for tuning in to KGNS News at 6. I'm Jerry Garza. The man accused of fatally injuring his 11-month-old son is back in court, this time facing charges of driving while intoxicated. According to the district attorney's office, Delfino Lopez, seen here, his attorneys will have more time to prepare for that case. Currently, he's in the Webb County jail, accused of having caused severe head injuries to his 11-month-old son in August of last year. His case will be reset for April 19th. It's going to be heard in the 406 District Court. Now, the boy would later die in a San Antonio hospital as a result of those injuries. That case is being heard in the 49th District Court. And we learned more of the man who died from his injuries after being hit by a car this morning. Police have released the man's name as Yakov Lastor from Ontario, Canada. Now, it happened on the 8200 block of San Lorenzo Drive near Mines Road and Las Cruces. Now, according to officers at the scene, Lastor was getting out of his trailer when the car hit him. The driver of the car came back to the scene to render aid. Lastor was transported to Doctors Hospital where he later died of his injuries. He was 61 years old. A hearing takes place in district court over a car accident that left a woman severely injured on New Year's morning back in 2014. Gerardo Venegas and Armando Venegas appeared before a judge for a hearing regarding blood drawn the day of the incident. The trial date has been set back. Pre-trial hearings is set for April 21st and trial should begin on May 16. Now, according to police, the incident was the second DWI for Gerardo Venegas. U.S. Customs and Border Protection officers at World Trade Bridge seized over half a ton of alleged marijuana this week. A CBP officer referred a tractor carrying a commercial shipment of mud floor tiles for secondary inspection. Now, during examination, CBP officers discovered 144 packages containing over 1,000 pounds of alleged marijuana commingled with the merchandise. The narcotics have an estimated street value of $260,000. CBP officers turned the case over to Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Homeland Security Investigation Special Agents for further investigation. Well, it seems Laredo and Webb County residents are not as healthy as the rest of Texans. A recent report finds Webb County falls short on that list. KGNS News reporter Valerie Gonzalez shows us where we're off the mark and what each of us can do to improve the community's overall health.
The Robert Wood Johnson Foundation creates these rankings every year. The latest shows that we have seen some improvements in some areas, but city health officials say that there is still some more room for improvement.
Zumba class is an integral part of the city's Healthy Living Viviendo Mejor program. Over 70 participants are currently enrolled.
Soy parte de esta clase porque me gusta participar, me gustan los movimientos y aparte para salud y energía.
Veronica Guerrero is motivated to continue participating after seeing results.
En mi vida física pues tengo más agilidad y tengo más energía y tengo salud también.
But there are many Laredoans who are not as proactive. Out of 241 counties ranked based on their health, Webb County ranks at 126. Dr. Gonzalez with the city's health department says they are aware of the findings, but there are 3 concerning issues: teen pregnancies, HIV figures, and premature deaths. And although there has been improvement in obesity rates, there are diseases that can follow if people don't go in for regular checkups. But the study finds most people don't do that because the majority is uninsured.
Access to care improved even though our uninsured rate, according to the profile, in the last 3 years has been between 35 to 36%. It's still higher than the state and the nation. Our local data shows it can be as high as 38 to 40%.
The rankings also addressed obesity and physical inactivity, but city schools and even businesses have activities promoting healthier living.
The takeaway is that while the city is working to provide these opportunities for you to improve your health, it's ultimately up to you to embrace them.
Being conscious of the problem is the first step.
Know your health status, know your numbers, check your blood pressure, check your glucose, check your weight, especially because our community has such a large uninsured population that waits. So the message is don't wait.
Once you know where you stand, it'll be easier to take the next steps towards a healthier you and a healthier community.
Más que nada comer saludable, preocuparnos por nuestra salud. Es recomendable checarse con el doctor a tiempo.
On the bright side, Laredo is ranked very high for length of life. Out of 241 counties, we're ranked at 26. Dr. Gonzalez says life expectancy is from 60 to 65 years of age, but many Laredoans have reached their 100th birthday. For KGNS News, Valerie Gonzalez.
Well, according to Dr. Gonzalez, food insecurity, child mortality rates, and access to care have all improved this year as well. Well, frontrunner for the Republican presidential nomination, Donald Trump, making headlines again at a town hall meeting after stating his support for the punishment of women who have abortions. KGNS reporter Cesar Vanoya spoke to students at TAMU to hear what they have to say regarding Trump's statement. Cesar?
I spoke to students at TAMU about what they felt upon hearing Donald Trump's comments regarding punishing women who have abortions. Despite party affiliation or associating themselves as either pro-choice or pro-life, students were pretty clear about what they thought about the Republican candidate.
Trump is out of his mind. That is the first thing I could say. A person should not be punished for choosing to go with abortion.
I don't think it's representative of the Laredo community, the Hispanic community, the young generation. I just think that those comments represent a very small population in the world that are very extreme conservative.
Tonight at 10, I'll have more on local reactions, including Congressman Henry Cuellar's opinion on Trump's remarks. Cesar Vanoye, KGNS News.
All right, thanks a lot, Cesar. And as you would expect, several of Trump's political opponents have used this as an opportunity to further cast doubt on Trump's ability to act as president. A group of students were out at Lake Casa Blanca helping Mother Nature this afternoon as they help pick up trash left behind from Easter's visitors. Every year, students from San Agustin head out to the lake to help clean up the park. One student volunteer says it's important to do our part in keeping city and state parks clean and hopes others do the same as well.
So we basically just came to pick up all the trash that they made in Easter, and there is a lot, so we picked up a lot of eggshells and confetti because it was Easter, and there's also a lot of water bottles.
Now, about 80 students showed up to volunteer for the event this morning. And Texas A&M International University hosted a recruitment outreach event at their student center. Local businesses, along with several government agencies, spoke to students and community about their experiences working in their respective fields. Now, Director General for the U.S. Department of State, Ambassador Arnold Chacon, visited the campus to emphasize the job opportunities available in diplomacy and in Congress.
I'm here because this, I think, is an ideal place given where it's located, given the bicultural, bilingual aspects of Laredo and the fact that they live international affairs every day, given the amazing trade that goes on with Mexico and the fact that you share a large border with Mexico.
Now, if you're interested in a job with the State Department, just head over to our website, kgns.tv, and click on the Extras tab. Well, the football field at the Student Activity Complex was turned into a stage for the Olympics. United ISD invited their elementary students out for their Young Athletes Program Special Olympics. Now, children got a chance to shuffle through tunnels, toss beanbags into buckets, race on tricycles, and score some soccer points. Volunteer staff and directors helped to make the whole event possible. Eventually, they will also invite older students to compete within their classes. And still ahead, high winds and dry conditions fueled a massive fire. We'll tell you where in Texas this towering inferno caused the damage. And heat wave, you said it was going to be a hot one today, and it was a pretty warm day today.
You know, temperatures reached into the mid-90s, but the air is considerably drier than yesterday when we had dew points of 70. Now the dew points are dropping into the high 40s. Winds are out of the north at 6 miles per hour. Some pretty big changes are coming up. I'll talk about that in a few minutes.
In state news this afternoon, 1 adult and 2 children were killed in a North Texas crash this afternoon. The crash happened at about 2 on State Highway 78 in Wiley. Now, a van was traveling south when it swerved into the northbound lanes, striking a car, according to DPS officials. The 3 people in the van suffered serious injuries and were airlifted to the medical center in Plano. An adult and 2 children in the car died at the scene. Their identities have not been released. Police are now investigating that crash. Highway 78 is shut down in both directions and traffic is being diverted onto a nearby road along the lake dam. Investigators are trying to determine what caused the death of a 14-month-old girl after she had a dental procedure in Austin. Details weren't immediately released on what procedure was done on the girl. Phil Prezon talked to a parent whose child was in the same clinic when that tragedy struck.
Being one chair away from tragedy can shake anyone.
They had said that they were going to fill them, do some x-rays. They wanted to put her to sleep. They weren't going to do the x-rays until she was asleep because of her age.
Janice Hernandez's 2-year-old daughter was next in line for dental services Tuesday morning at Austin Children's Dentistry. In the waiting room, she spoke with Daisy's mother. Nothing memorable, only small talk.
Next thing we know, everything changed.
An ambulance arrived a short time later and rushed Daisy to the North Austin Medical Center, where she later died. As for Daisy's family, all they're left with are memories. Her aunt just saw her on Easter.
She was just healthy. She was good. She was Daisy. Yeah.
As for Janice, who spoke with Daisy's mom Tuesday morning, she says her children will no longer go to Austin Children's Dentistry. Her prayers are with Daisy's family, but being one visit away from death was too much for her.
This poor, precious child that was only here for 14 months no longer gets to go home. You know, she doesn't have her family anymore. Her family doesn't have her. You know, so I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. It's a real scary thing.
A clinic spokesperson says it's a tragedy and all thoughts and prayers are with the family. The Texas State Board of Dental Examiners has opened an investigation into the death. The medical examiner's office did not return a message today. And investigators in Texas are searching for the body of a woman missing for 18 years. They're digging at a field near Angleton in what sources call the search for Kellyanne Cox. 20-year-old mother disappeared after visiting a nearby jail for her criminology class. Cox called her boyfriend to come and pick her up and was never heard from again. Police originally suspected William Reese, who has never been charged in the case, but now he is talking after being sentenced to 60 years in another kidnapping. Last month, the 56-year-old led police to the possible remains of a missing 17-year-old girl. And fire crews battled a big pallet fire in West Texas on Wednesday. It took crews from South Ector, West Odessa, and Odessa to contain the massive fire in Pleasant Farms. Fire officials said they were mostly concerned for the homes adjacent to the lot as wind blew the flames in all directions. Witnesses say the flames reached upwards of 60 to 70 feet at times. The lot was full of pallets, cardboard, and barrels, which were randomly blowing up, according to officials. There were no reported injuries, but one drum exploded and hit the side of a fire truck. And officials are investigating the cause of the fire. And Heatwave joins us now with a look at weather. You did need a thermometer today to know that it was over 90 degrees.
It was, and we actually got a cheap 95 out of it, 94.5, so rounded up to 95. Low is 71, so those numbers are way above average for this time of year. Look what happened 29 years ago on the state, 1987, 27 degrees on the state, so it can get cool. In fact,
just not often.
Not often. And we are going to be much cooler by the time we get to Saturday morning, but nowhere near that record low. Here's your sunrise, sunset data. I have my full weather report after this.
And now, your KGNS First Alert Forecast with Chief Meteorologist Richard Heatwave Burler.
Good evening. The 12-hour satellite imagery shows the dry air mass which moved south and eastward across the state, so the clouds of yesterday are long gone. They've been pushed out into the Gulf of Mexico. The humid air still is present over the Mississippi Valley. Some pretty strong thunderstorms occurring in Louisiana, Mississippi, and eastward from there and northward into the Tennessee and Ohio Valley. But all that is going to be taking place far to our east, and our weather will be coming in from inland locations, so the air will be dry now for some time to come. Here in South Texas, we started the day with patches of fog and low clouds, but at around 8 o'clock this morning, the wind started to pick up from the west and northwest, and that pushed all the clouds east away from us and mixed dry air aloft down to the surface, so we cleared up. There are some clouds, though, in the northeastern portions of Mexico, but I'm not expecting to see any shower activity out of that. Temperatures range from the upper 80s in Creasville Springs, the low 90s along I-35, and where it took a little bit longer for the northwesterly and northerly winds to push the desert air out, temperatures temperatures got into the mid-90s, 94 in Hebbronville, Zapata 97. They were 98 a little bit earlier, and Monterey and McAllen made it to 100 degrees. And the air is considerably drier, dew points dropping into the 40s across the area. Hebbronville has a dew point of 39. Cotulla has a dew point of about 50. Right along the coast, it's still humid. Corpus Christi southward to Brownsville having dew points in the upper 60s to around 70. At the airport, dry, light northerly winds, 93 degrees at this point. And as we go through the next couple of days, a cooler air mass is now moving southward through the state, but the real cool air is north of this boundary. An idea of how much chillier and winter-like it is. Alliance, Nebraska having some snowflakes in the air. Gillette, also Sheridan and Worland, and Rock Springs in Wyoming. Periods of light snow going on. Laramie 27. As we go through tonight, we will still be mild. We'll be in the 60s, but during tomorrow in the afternoon, the chilly air will already be dropping temperatures into the low 60s in San Antonio. We should make the low 80s around midday, but by dinner time, our temperatures will start to come down, and by the end of the night, we'll be in the upper 40s to around 50 to wake up on Saturday morning, and we'll be about 70 to low 70s Saturday afternoon. So overnight, I'm expecting the clear skies. Temperatures would drop into the 60s during tomorrow. Low 80s midday, and then a windy, chilly evening, 50 by the end of the night, 70s on Saturday, and then warm weather returns. Sunday, a nice day, and then the southerly winds will be in the upper 80s and low 90s for a good part of the coming week. But tomorrow evening, you'll want to pull out that jacket. It will be windy and much chillier after the low 80s midday.
And we were hot, but at least there's some comfort in knowing that we weren't the hottest one in the state.
Yeah, McAllen did it 100.
All right, thanks a lot, Heatwave. And Ryan joins us here with a look at sports. Going to have a little bit of everything here this evening.
Yeah, we got some high school sports with Figueroa, the boys getting ready for the soccer playoffs. We hear from them. Plus, the Swarm back on the court this afternoon. They get ready for the national playoffs to be happening right here in Laredo. We're going to hear from the guys. That's next in KGNS Sports.
From the gridiron to the links, it's time for KGNS Sports with Ryan Bailey.
Tomorrow we'll see the Figueroa boys back in the air around to the UIL soccer playoffs as they try to recapture the magic of 2 seasons ago. In 2014, the Toros made school history by advancing to the 4th round of the playoffs, leaving expectations high for last season, but Figueroa was balanced in the same area round. Now the group that made history are seniors, and they want to try and outdo their accomplishments of the past.
3rd round, we know it's not easy to get there. Everyone wants to make history in this team.
I'm proud of this team, and hopefully we can get there. If not, I'm happy with this team, with this year. This has been a great year and a great experience.
The Toro boys will face Brownsville Lopez tomorrow night, 7:30 from Sharyland's Rattler Stadium. While the soccer playoffs wait for tomorrow, we have a pair of in-town games on the diamonds around Laredo tonight. In baseball, the Alexander Guys are looking to draw even with United after the Longhorns picked up a win last night and took over sole possession of first place in the district. The Bulldogs sit at 5-1 on the year. They can not only get a win tonight, but help out LBJ and United South by taking on Del Rio and keeping those 3 teams in a close race for the 4th and final playoff spot. The Bulldogs and Rams have just gotten started from Kruger Field. Meanwhile, down at the Sack, it's a battle of Southside rivals in softball. So Panthers and Wolves lock up. They too will get going here in just a little bit. Our cameras will be at both tonight. We'll have highlights of these ones coming up tonight on KGNS Sports at 10. After more than a month off, the Swarm are gearing up to get back on the court, just a few wins away from an American Basketball Association championship. After running through the ABA Southwest Division, it's been a long layoff for the Laredo Hoops team. They've spent the last couple of days trying to shake off the rust and get their minds back in focus on the task at hand. Sometimes that can lead to flare-ups in practice, but the guys say that's just part of being a team.
I know all of us have been excited for these playoffs to start. And it's a little edgy out here, but I think it's good because that's how we want to bring it on the court. So we game ready right now.
The guys are getting reacquainted with each other, and I know that may sound crazy, but we had a couple of weeks off where just guys weren't able to play, and now as we're getting back in the gym, I believe our mindset is this: we're still here to win a championship.
The Swarm are scheduled to take the court Monday at 8 p.m. against the Kalamazoo Pure in the opening round of a 10-team tournament to happen here in the Gateway City. Those games start at 2 p.m. at the LEA. To the NBA we go. Dallas at home last night taking on the Knicks. The Mavs still trying to secure their place in the Western Conference playoffs. Pick up the action in the fourth quarter. The home team trailing by 4 to the Knicks. Wes Matthews left alone. He knows what to do, cutting that lead down to 1. Under 3 minutes to play. J.J. Barea going to work off the screen here, and he pops from 3. All tied up at 86 after that triple. Well, under a minute to go. More from Barea, working a little give and go. The help defense is late. The lead gives Dallas a 1-point lead. New York would get off a good look just before the buzzer, but it doesn't fall. Dallas holds on for the win. 91-89 your final on that one. Well, after that victory, Minneapolis and Dallas turned to Utah. So Jazz and Warriors met up with not only Golden State's pursuit of history and motion, but also the Mavericks' playoff chances with the Jazz sitting in the 7th spot entering the night. Utah led for most of the night, but down 3 in the final seconds. Klay Thompson hits there, tying it up, sending it into overtime. That momentum would carry over as the Warriors pull away for a 7-point win, thanks in large part to who else but Steph Curry. Golden State improves to 68-7 on the year. They're just 5 wins away from breaking the all-time record for victories in a single season, with the loss of Utah, Houston, Dallas now all in a 3-way tie for the 7th and 8th spots.
And every game they get closer and closer to that history.
A little closer to history.
I don't know, part of me almost kind of doesn't want them. I don't want them to make it either. Just because.
They're going to. Sorry, Spurs fans.
But Bulls fan from way back in the 90s. All right, thanks a lot, Ryan. We'll be right back. And don't go anywhere. Here's what we're working on for KGNS News at 10. Technical issues are affecting some STAR tests across the state, including here in Laredo. We speak to district representatives about it. Plus, Donald Trump makes some controversial comments about women and abortion. We talked to Laredoans about their take on the presidential hopeful stance. And a local professor is awarded for his public service in Laredo and his dedication to protecting the environment. Now he moves to compete on for an award in the nation's capital. All this and more coming up tonight at 10. And one last look at our weather for tonight. Heatwave.
We'll just start to drop under 90 at 7 o'clock, right around 90 at 7. Around 80 at 10 o'clock, in the mid-70s at midnight.
All right, so by and large, pretty pleasant evening.
Not bad.
All right, thanks a lot, Heatwave. And that is going to do it for us here tonight. Remember, you can catch this and all of our newscasts streaming live at KGNS.TV. We'll see you back here at 10. Good night.